Welcome to episode 3 of Let's Talk Hoops. So today I have a very special guest for you all. For one, excuse me because my normal camera's not working right, so we had to audible real quick. But anyways, got a special guest today, man. Emmanuel Holloway, Cookaman-E. He is a graduate of Woodland High School. He attended Illinois State Redbirds. Am I right?
Yeah, Redbirds, man. Redbirds all day.
And he also spent 8 years playing basketball overseas. Now he's back in the Northwest Georgia area, training youth with his Buckets or Bench program. Emmanuel Cookaman-E, what's happening?
Man, what's up, big baby? It's been a long time, man. I appreciate the invite, man.
Yeah, man, no problem. I started this particular show because I like basketball.
Yeah.
I'm a basketball nerd. I listen to a bunch of basketball podcasts. I have League Pass. I watch a lot of basketball. And I see a lot of people talk basketball, but a lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, it's a waste of conversation. They don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. And what I decided was, let me start talking to people who I know the game.
Yeah.
Or know about the game or follow it enough to have an intelligent conversation, so we can create a good conversation about basketball, so I can learn something as a future member of the big media.
Mm-hmm.
And then also we can provide the community with a great conversation because it's just so much that people can learn.
Yeah, and I'm gonna learn as well, man. I love these conversations. I don't know everything.
All right, so let's paint the picture of who you are.
Okay.
Emmanuel Holloway, basketball player, man. When did it start?
Man, it started when I was a little baby, man. As soon as we were still living in Hawaii. Got a little preschool goal. I was trying to dunk on it. And then it's from there. I saw Michael Jordan and I wanted to be like Mike. That was it. Period. And then my dad told me we ain't had no money. So he was like, I can't play rec ball. He didn't let me play rec. He was just like, you gonna get your fundamentals right. That's it. And so he said, when the basketball becomes free, and then we found out 6th grade was when it was gonna be free. He's like, that's when you can play. He said, until then, and you're not gonna play, you're not gonna be on the bench. So I'm not gonna be coming to the games, and you sitting on the bench. So what you gonna do? So he said, I'll get you a goal and show me that you want it.
So Buckets of Bench got started well before you even knew it was gonna be a brand.
But it was in my soul, man. It was in my soul. That's facts.
So at what point did you end up in Bartow County?
I was 3rd grade.
Okay, 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And 6th grade was your first opportunity to play on a basketball team.
Yep, South Central Middle School. Coach Bouye and Coach Burt Jackson, who was the coach. He was the 8th grade coach. Now he's coaching Cass girls who are killing it right now.
Yeah, they are, man. Still undefeated. Keep doing great, Lady Colonels.
Yeah, fact.
Proud alumni of Cass. So you went to South.
Yeah.
Y'all worth the damn because we used to mop South Central back in the day.
My 6th grade year, we didn't win a game. I remember we almost beat Woodland because that was when Woodland first got going. That was the only team we could really tussle with, and they beat us by a buzzer beater. That was the last game of the season. Man, I got back all summer. I was training. I was going in the lab. The 7th grade year, we lost in the championship. In the 8th grade, we lost in the championship. So we was straight there. And then they haven't been good since.
Yeah, I was about to say, they was kind of good, but they wasn't. I think the best South Central team that I played against in my 3 years of middle school was the 8th grade team. I still think we beat them by 30.
Dang, and that was good? That's crazy.
Well, our 8th grade team was different though. We had Adrian, Blake, Jake Stevens.
That was hell.
Yeah. I mean, you get Adrian and Blake, that's 45 points right there, easy.
Yeah.
Jay gonna give you 16 off fast breaks because as soon as the shot go up, he taking off. So
yeah, y'all was hell.
Yeah, man, it was a good time. So then you go to Woodland High.
Yep.
And I vaguely remember you at Woodland. Cause I remember it was your senior year, and you was busting Cass ass. I mean, seemed like every time you got the ball, you got to the rack, and you slapping glass hard, two hands. I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Who is this nigga? I don't know him. But what was it like playing at Woodland?
My freshman year, I started varsity. We were
Okay.
not good. That's when Derek Broom. I don't know if you remember Derek Broom.
Yeah, I remember Derek.
Yeah, so I played varsity. I was the reason why I played varsity is because I think they saw potential in me, right? And they was like, go ahead and throw him in the fire. Cause I wouldn't say I was the best. I wouldn't say I was the best point guard or guard in the school, but I had the best upside. So sometimes as a coach, you want to throw a player in there to develop, and they even do that in the NBA. Like you throw a player in to develop. And ninth grade was hell. Like we was playing Pebblebrook, and they was beating us by 40. Like people were beating us by 40. And so by the end of the season, I wasn't playing. Like I wasn't playing that much. So that was real discouraging. But of course, I got in the lab and came back my sophomore year. Started, and then I averaged double digits my sophomore year.
Okay.
And then junior year we was really good. And then senior year it was just like I got this D1 scholarship. I gotta show people I'm D1. So playing at Woodland was cool. I wouldn't say we played a lot of competition. I wouldn't say that. Like I wish we would have. Looking back, I wish we would have played teams my junior. I wish we'd have played teams my junior senior year. Um, so we could. So I could have been. So I could have been better. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But that's how it went. It was
So
straight.
let's go back to your freshman year a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because you talked about the coaches seeing the upside in you and giving you the opportunity to go out there and take those lumps. And so often that doesn't happen, especially in the Northwest Georgia community. And I don't follow I don't follow hoops like I used to there anymore just because I'm away and I have other priorities. But I remember so often seeing upperclassmen playing just because they were upperclassmen, like, oh, well, he's a senior, so he has to take
Yeah.
the roster spot. Why? He's not good.
Yeah.
He's not gonna make the team any better now or in the future.
Yeah.
And he's not gonna play in college.
Yeah.
So it would be different if you have if you have one of those factory programs where, hey, look, you are good enough to start here as a freshman, but we have this senior who is going to name that school, whether it's high major, mid major, even D2. Like you're gonna have 3 years,
Yeah.
but we're getting this guy his time. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. But when it's nah, man, he playing and he think he gonna go, because everybody say they going to some school
Yeah. They not.
with a 2.4 GPA,
Eh,
5'9",
Yeah. Undersized. Yeah.
and no offhand.
Yeah. Yeah. They are not equipped for college. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's because these coaches, and I don't want to tell them how to do their job, but I don't think they have a long-term plan for their program. I think they just, yeah, they must not, because you would think you want to have a time horizon where you're like, okay, we got 4 or 5 years where we want to build something. I need to find me a pipeline from the middle school. I need to find me a young point guard that I could groom. I could build a relationship with, and I can entrust in him that he's calling the shots while he's on the court, while he's in the fire, and I can start that process early. Probably going to lose that one season, probably not going, but by the end of the season, I can start seeing some development in him, and I can start seeing some leadership qualities in him, because you life is the best teacher. You need experience. You know what I'm saying? You can't. You would think that would be the mindset, but all too often that's just not the case.
It's not, and and you ask yourself, what are the coaches actually doing? What's the plan here? Because you see someone who's talented, and you can pick them up early, or some of them you can pick up early, others are late bloomers, but a lot of times you can pick it up early.
Yeah.
You pick them up early, and you should have the pipeline, the middle school to high school pipeline. You should probably reach out to the local AAU coaches and try to get as many of your players on the same AAU team as possible so that they're building chemistry, they're getting better together without you around. And guess what? You have a off the books relationship with that AAU coach so that they are running sets similar to what you run, and you have that year-round development within your system without breaking the rules set by high schools, because it is limited to what you can do.
Yeah. I would say this, though. I agree with you to a certain extent, but sometimes you got to have a player that plays on a different program. For you know what I'm saying?
I was gonna get there. You're gonna have your different ones who like, no, bro, go play with the stars. Go play with the stars.
Yeah.
You don't get better by being here.
Yeah, you don't get better by being here. We had a play. There's a couple stories I could tell you where I was like, I'm glad he went and played where he was at, because we needed him to be able to take it to. Because when an elite player is challenged, I was studying this. The Buddhists call it Wu Wei or Wu Wei or something like that. They talk about when you find your flow in a game is when your talent matches your competition. Like you don't play down, but just our instincts, when we get locked in against a competition, there's players who could take it to another level. And you need those players to be challenged on a higher level so they can hone in on them skills more. And that's why you need them to be like, yo, nah, you need to. You pick up on a couple of tournaments, but there's other ones you need to go get that bump. You need to travel.
It's like, hey, look here, bro. You gonna play with the local YBOA team,
yeah,
and you gonna do these little local tournaments around here 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 times throughout the season. But yeah, when the real summer starts, the real summer circuit starts, you're gonna be on the Nike circuit, you're gonna be on the Adidas circuit.
Yeah,
because that's where you need to be.
That's where you
need
to be.
But again, for your core players, for your gonna play freshman team, sophomore gonna be on JV, maybe come off the bench and blow out some varsity, then get their 2 years of varsity play. Have a system that works together. Hell, there's enough recreation coaches now who are consistently following age groups that what kids are going to be in your school district for the most part. Just have an eye on them. Just watch them. Get a feel for their game, because just like you want players who are going to play for you the best way, you want to be able to coach them the best way possible. And there's years and years of information that can be gathered. I'm not saying that the high school coach needs to be at the 8 and under game every week.
Yeah.
But
you can have an ear to the street. You can have an ear to the street.
Right. And it won't hurt you to go to an all-star game.
Yeah.
All-star tournament.
Yeah.
So get back to you. So you said going into your senior year, you knew you had that D1 offer, right? Or that you were a D1 guy. What type of pressure did you feel, if any, going into your last year, knowing that you're going to be a D1 player from an area where there's not many basketball players?
Yeah, so I actually signed. I signed right before the season. I signed right before the season, and so I actually didn't have any pressure when it came to what I was going to do next. The pressure that I felt, if any, was I wanted to prove to people that I was the best in the county. And I had goals to be Mr. Basketball, which might have been unrealistic because that was Lou Williams. I think Lou Williams won it that year, or Dwight Howard won it that year. But I definitely wanted, and rest in peace, I was coach, rest in peace to Roman Gilliam. We was my partner. We got Bartow County Player of the Year. But I had won it my junior year, so I wanted to win it again. So that was my motivation. I wanted to try to average 25 points a game. I only averaged like 19. So yeah, I didn't really feel any pressure when it came to basketball my senior. It was just all about go get a bucket. Uh,
Well, going to Woodland, and for those who are familiar with the area, you have Cass, you have Cartersville. Excuse me, you have Cartersville first, then you have Cass, and then Woodland's a newer school. I mean, what 99 ish,
yeah, 99, 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was, especially when you were in high school, a very new school. But even now, as far as the way a lot of the city is built, it's Cass Cartersville because that's where most people's parents went to school in the area, and that's the big rivalry in the town. How did it feel being the best player in the county, but being at a lesser school?
I didn't even know. I didn't even care nothing about any of that. Be honest with you, I was so locked in on basketball, man. My vision, my motivation was bigger than Cartersville. It wasn't no knock to the area, but like I was I believed I was gonna play professional basketball. So when it came to the school, it was like this is temporary. This isn't where I'm gonna end up. This is a stepping stone while I'm hopping across the river. Like it's just what it is. So I didn't even know. I knew the rivalry. Like I knew there was a rivalry. If there was, like, we wanted to beat them because we personally knew people over there. And Cass, Tevis, and Mike Reynolds, and all of them. Like it was a rivalry, but it wasn't like I didn't know if it was lesser or not. Like I don't even. I'm still that way to this day. I don't know. I don't know who's better. I. I don't know who's better or not. They can't tie my shoe for me. They can't put food on my plate for me. Yeah, you got to show me today. So like, that's how it was when it was at Illinois State. We played against Indiana. Like I'm in their locker room right next to them. I'm over there talking cash money to them. I'm like, yo, I don't care Eric Gordon. I don't care any of that. Like I'm getting hyped right now just thinking about it. Like
I can tell. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about college. You you,
yeah.
you signed right. What were your first years like in college?
So Mercer was what was, bruh. And that's the thing. These high school coaches don't prepare them for college. I was not prepared for college. I got to Mercer University, mind you. Now I'm exposed to females, and I could do whatever I want, right? So that's a whole nother lifestyle. School was at Mercer was hard, so I breezed through Woodland. That was easy, like 90 cumulative average, like could sleep in class. I didn't sleep in school, but you could probably sleep and get your grades, right? So
Look,
now I'm
look.
at Mercer.
I went to Cass. I graduated with almost a 96 GPA, and I slept.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not
Yeah.
hard. So now I'm at Mercer and I got to write a 5-page paper. I got to read 40 pages and write a 5-page paper the next day. I got training. We got conditioning in the morning. Then we got practice, and they're calling out these actions, these basketball actions, like America's action, and I'm like I'm on the side. I'm supposed to be the point guard. So that means I need to know. I need to be the extension of coach, and they're calling play actions that I don't even know what they mean. And I'm like, yo, so I'm overwhelmed. Like I'm completely overwhelmed, like 100%. So they had to redshirt me, right? So they redshirt me. I ended up leaving Mercer and went to junior college, which was a good idea for me because um, then I was around D1 players.
Okay.
I was around D1 players when I was at Mercer, of course, because I was at a D1 school. So when I went to junior college, the thing about junior college, they're either their IQ isn't there, their grades isn't there, or their skill set isn't there. So my skill set was there. Now my IQ is there, and my athleticism is there. So I'm kind of like I'm a because I had a year at D1, so I'm
Mhm.
ahead. I'm ahead of the junior college players that I was with. So that at Iowa Western gave me a notch, and I also had that fire to want to get back to D1. So
What
my
was it
focus
like?
was
What was it like in Iowa? Because I mean, Macon's by no means is a great time, but I'll take Macon over Iowa any day.
bruh, oh my God. Like we was in the middle of a cornfield. Uh there was no black people. It was only black people was there was from the basketball team, was sprinkled in from all over the country. So we stayed at a residence hall. We was right next to Omaha, Nebraska, though. You had to drive like 30 minutes, but none of us was driving because we flew in from other places. So, you know, I ain't have a car. So it was basketball, man. It was like that's what it was. And from hearing from the experiences from the guys that came in, they came from prep school from situations that were worse than that. And I'm like, what could be worse than this?
Bruh, Adrian went to prep school in Maine.
Oh, I didn't know that. In Maine?
Yeah.
Golly.
He told me one day he looked out his window when there's a moose outside. I'm like,
What? That's crazy. Hey, the dude, he was like, how did I get here? That makes you go put the ball in the basket, though, man. That'll make you
yeah.
put the ball in the basket. It's like things got to shake.
Okay, so then you end up at Illinois State, right?
Yeah, that was the best time of best time of my life. Yeah. And I owe it all to you. Yeah, bro. Illinois State. I remember going on my visit. As soon as I got off that charter flight, I was like, I'm going here. There's no question. No question.
So you took a charter flight. Did you have a book bag waiting on you on the plane?
Nah, it wasn't like that. I'm not even gonna talk about what all of that, man. I'm not even talking about that. No,
I
no,
gotta ask.
no. We're gonna move.
Yeah,
We're gonna talk.
let's talk
Yeah,
Illinois State hoops, man. Like talk about that experience and how it grew you as a man and a basketball
yeah,
player.
yeah. That was the principles at which all the buckets of bench come by. Coach Jankovic. He so the first So we get there. So first of all, we had a group of guys that still my brothers to this day. We had a group of guys that during the summertime all they wanted to do was play basketball. And there's organizations that guys aren't like that. So
Mhm.
all we did during the summer, my first summer there, we had to check into school. You had to do your class so you get your money and whatnot. All we did was go to play basketball all day long. Wake up in the morning, hit the weight room, hit the gym, go to class. You had to do your classes, come back, barbecue, get with some shorties, and then head back to the gym, play basketball. So all summer long. So we built that camaraderie and that brotherhood that we needed. We needed that because once the school and the semester started, Coach Jankovic took it to another level. So we did this thing called boot camp, right? So before boot camp, we had individuals. We had weights individuals before boot camp. So school started in August. We would do individuals 3 times a week for an hour. And this is before they had to, they lowered the restrictions. They still had restrictions of how many hours you could do with your coaches.
Mhm.
And we did drill work all this whole hour. And I thought I worked, but when we worked with them, everything was full speed. It wasn't you can go through the motions. Nah, it was full speed. And before we even touched the basketball, we were doing close out, slide your feet, full speed sprints, close out, slide your feet, close out, slide your feet, close out, slide your feet, close out, slide your feet for 15 minutes straight. By the time you got to 5 minutes in, everything was blurry. You couldn't see anything. So now you're completely tired. And he told us, he was like, yeah, so if you want to play in the NBA, we don't care if you can shoot the basketball when you're fresh. We want to know, can you shoot the basketball when you're tired? You can barely breathe. Can you get a bucket then? Anybody can shoot and get a bucket when you're fresh, but who plays the game? Who plays the game when they're not tired? We want to see you take it to another level. So that's how our trainings was. It was like get you completely dog tired. And so once we got past that, I'm like, okay, cool. So then we had boot camp, which boot camp was 6 o'clock in the morning for an hour straight, no basketballs in the gym, doing nothing but defensive slides, heavy jump ropes. We had camouflage on. It was like military, like it was crazy. And we had to be encouraging each other. We had like if we wasn't encouraging each other, if we wasn't saying, if we weren't communicating, if we wasn't I'm talking about, and he told us, he was like, look, the only way he said he was like, you want to know why you got to encourage each other? We was like, nah. He was like, because you forget how tired you was. And he's like, all right, cool. So that's the culture that he wanted. He wanted that culture. And then because he told us, he was like, we was in the arena, 10,000, like a 12,000 foot arena. And he was like, if you want, and he pointed at the top of the bleachers, and he was like, if you want people to be up there, then we got to be like, we got to be one fist. We got to be encouraging. We got to be diving on loose basketballs. We got to be whoop de whoop. So we did 2 weeks of that, and on the last day, we had to run 30 suicides in 30 minutes, and that was hell, bruh. That was hell. That was bruh. That was hell. And then I thought that was the toughest thing we had. Then we started practice the next week where we was practicing, and then they took it up a notch where it was full speed. We pride ourselves on defense, but he told us, he was like this. He was like, we're gonna play in your face, pick you up full court. We sitting on everything. You can't dribble, you can't pass, you can't shoot without us being in your back pocket. And he said that's gonna be our insurance to shoot the ball whenever you want. Like, that's our insurance policy. He said, I'm not gonna ever tell you you can't shoot the basketball. And he would get mad, and this would help me grow as a basketball player because I had never played at that level before. So we played against the Saluki, Southern Illinois, who had just went to the Final Four. And they trapped every ball screen like madmen. So they would trap. I come off that ball screen and they trapped me, and I'm like this. Bro, he called me right out the game. He was pissed. He was like, that we don't, he was like, nah, that ain't going. Like, you ain't going like that. Like, we not doing that. Like, and what he was telling me is like, no, you're gonna man up and you're gonna fight through that ball screen. And you're gonna, instead of them being the aggressive on you, you be the aggressor. And once I got that mentality where I was like, oh, okay, it changed my whole mindset. And then that's when I worked on my handles, I worked on my left hand. Um, and then going into my senior year, uh, we went to the conference championship twice.
Okay.
And then that made me into Cookaman.
All
Well, the start of Cookaman. Yeah.
right. So, as Cookaman, what was your best game at Illinois State, and did you play against somebody notable that we may know?
Yeah. So I did play against notable, but my best game was the first time I got to start on national TV.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to start on national TV against Wright State. That was the first game that I got to start.
Out in Ohio.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had 16, 5 and 5 or something like that. I got to start. I was hooping. You got me on TV. My people get to watch. What? I was locked all the way in. But notable, I played against Kenneth Reed, and then I played against Indiana when they had Eric Gordon.
Did you check him?
Yeah, I did. I didn't check. I didn't start on them because I wasn't starting. That was my junior. I didn't start.
Okay.
I did walk into the coach's office. I was like, I want Eric Gordon. He laughed at me.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, is that right? Is that right?" I'm watching him on film. This is when he had the little T-shirt white T-shirt up under it. I was like, I
Little
want
belly.
him. Yeah, bro. I guarded him. I got up on him, and I used to talk. I told you, like, I used to talk. I still talk trash. Like, their locker room was right next to ours, and they had some dudes from the west side of Chicago, and you already know how they go, how they get down, right? So I'm talking cash money to them. They like it is what it is. So we get on the basketball court, and I'm talking trash. He looked at me. He's 6'4", chest out here, because he used to do like push-ups. Like, they used to say, like, they'd be at the AAU tournaments, and he'll be knocking out like 200 push-ups, just not like knocking them out. I'm like, what? Because I had some guys from Illinois State who was from Chicago, Cyrus Eldridge, like, so they know each other.
Mm-hmm.
But Eric Gordon was different. He was different. This he was different. We he was different. That was the day when I found out what NBA looked like. Like, I had never seen. I had played against Lou Williams in high school, and he wasn't big. He wasn't at that time as explosive as I thought he was, as he is now. But when I saw Eric Gordon, it was nothing I could do. It was nothing. I couldn't get him out of his spot. I couldn't get him out of his position. I couldn't get him sped up in his head. I couldn't talk him out of his game. we pride ourselves on picking you up full court, being up on you, playing defense, and he went coast to coast whenever he wanted to. It was like it, I was almost in awe sometimes. I like it was a borderline awe and a borderline of I want to get out there and guard him. I'm sitting on the bench and I'm seeing him go coast to coast. He had 20 at halftime. I'm talking about coast to coast, finger at the rim, laying it up. I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. This is crazy.
It's funny that EG is the guy who showed you NBA because I was in high school and Eric Gordon was one of my favorite players, and even still now, like I love to watch him play. I like to watch him when he gets the chance to cook.
Yeah.
And you talk about that, and it's like when he was at Indiana, nobody could guard him. It was and and when you think about it, of how good he was in college, and then becomes he's a top end role player in the NBA and has a long career. No
Mm-hmm.
shade at that, and just the difference in the gap between great high school to great college, and then great college to great NBA.
Mm-hmm.
After your time ended at Indiana State, what was your plan? Or excuse me, Illinois State. I'm so sorry. At
I,
Illinois State, what was your thought process and what was your plan?
I didn't have a plan. I didn't even know I was gonna play pro. Like I was, my homeboy Anthony Slack had just like came back from Ukraine hooping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I averaged 10 points a game at Illinois State. I averaged double digits. So I wasn't expecting. I didn't know what overseas was like. I didn't have no big homie or nothing like that that was, putting me on game. Like it was I just remember after the season I had got soon as the season was over, I had agents hitting me up in my on my Facebook. This is when Facebook was just now really popping.
Mm-hmm.
And and they was telling me like, yo, woo, 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 woo. And this is why when people reach out to me now, they're like, yo, Cook, I want to play overseas. I'm like, you don't need to look for an agent. Like, you don't you don't need to look for people to represent you. They will, if you're talented enough, they will find you. Even in high school, middle school, like I tell the Buckets and bench players all the time, we don't need to market ourselves. Like when it comes to that, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. They will find you. Talent is going to be found. Period. You know what I'm saying? So they hit me up. So I didn't have a plan, and it was crazy because I got so many stories, man. But I
Tell
end
the
up,
ones that you can.
huh?
Tell the ones that you can. That's what we have to do.
All right. So this is what happened. So I had uh an agent hit me up, and he was telling me, he was like, "Yo, just to be raw." He was like, "Yeah, what I'm saying, you went to Illinois State. You didn't really." He just gave it to me real. He was like, you didn't. What I'm saying, you're not gonna get that much money." And this is what he told me. So then I had another agent who was telling me, "Yo, I can get you $15,000 a month." And I'm like, what I'm saying, me being not naive, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Ooh, I want that 15,000." Come to find out, it was bullshit. It wasn't really was. But he had me. I had signed to this agent, so I'm like, I'm thinking I'm going there. So I almost missed out on my opportunity to play overseas. And it just happened that I ran across another guy who went to Bowling Green, who had the same type contract that I had, and we found out this dude was scamming us. And I'm like, yo, like he reached out to me because I had played against him, and basketball's a small world, small community.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying, so I was like, yo, I had to get out of that contract, and so then I reached back out to my other age, the guy who first reached out to me, who kept it real. I'm like, yo, he kept it real. I might as well. So I reached back out to him. He was like, yeah, I see what I could do. I get you in Germany, but you're only gonna make $1,000 a month. And I'm just like, shit, I got to get out of here. I got to do what I got to do. We gonna figure this thing out, right? And so he was like, all right. As soon as he got me into Germany, and in the second league of Germany, and I got over there, and bro, I went over there and I was killing anything stuck on that basketball court. I was destroying anything. I led the league in scoring all the way up into the last game, and I think I got kicked out the game or something like that, or suspended. Like something happened.
Mhm.
So my average dropped by like a tenth of a point, a couple tenths of a point. So I didn't lead the league in scoring, but I got defensive player of the year. Like I averaged like 22 points a game. Had defensive player of the year. Averaged like 6 assists, 3 steals. Like I was hooping.
So what was it like playing that international style of basketball fresh out of college?
I was blessed and fortunate because I ran across a coach who didn't know anything.
Okay.
If I don't know if he'll hear this, his name was like he was like Turkish. His name was like Mahmoud Ataman. My homeboys called him Mutt Mutt. You know, Americans, we
Especially back then, because you didn't have to be politically correct either.
yeah, it didn't have to be. Didn't have to be. So he didn't know anything. He was just like, he gave me the keys to the Lamborghini and let me drive it however I wanted to. So we was like, cool. It was me and it was a dude from Texas Southern, and then there was another dude from Bowling Green, another dude, the guard from Bowling Green, and we was killing it. I was cooking so much. They was like, yo, they was like, you got somebody else that you could bring over here? I was like, yeah, I got my homeboy. He's still at home. He had just came from Ukraine. He ain't got a deal right now. You pay him this. Yo, we really cook. So they was like, all right. And they flew him out there, got him out there, and then we was really cooking. But I was fortunate because they didn't, and I was spoiled because then I end up having, my next year, I got a nice little check. I went to Czech Republic and I went over there, but this guy was Croatian. Like this guy was Croatian, Serbian, Eastern European type coach. And if you know anything, are you familiar with how the Eastern European coaches are?
Not the coaches. I'm a little bit familiar with the style of play, but can you explain it to me, please?
All right, so these coaches, this is how they are, these Eastern Europeans. They want to break you down mentally so they can build you up how they want you to be. So
Mm-hmm.
they, so they'll say stuff like "fuck your mother," you ain't shit. Like they're gonna like run you to death. Like 3 practices a day. Like they're trying to break you down mentally so they can build you up the way you are. So me, I'm a very positive guy, but I'm also when you come up against me, like it is what it is. So he had a particular style of play that he wanted us to do that I wasn't as point guard savvy as I am now. My IQ wasn't really where it was. And previously, I was able to play however I wanted. Like I was a scoring point guard. So, and that was a transition between the game too. Like at that point guards were traditional. So it wasn't until Steph Curry revolutionized the game where point guards became more scoring. So I was that scoring point guard where I had guys on my team local guys who wanted to shoot the basketball. But in my mind, this is how I thought. I'm like, me as a point guard, this is what I thought. I'm supposed to get the ball to the best scorer on the team and in the best matchup. And most times on any given night, I'm the best one to get the ball in that basket. This is whether I was right or whether I was wrong. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So with this Czech Republic coach, he didn't have the respect of the players. He damn sure didn't have my respect. And we had a mafia. Our owner was mafia. He was from the mafia. So we wasn't winning. Uh, it was crazy. That was
So what was it like living internationally? Because one of my friends he played in Czech, and I heard Prague was a good time.
Czech Republic, man. Oh my God! Like when you ask, be specific, please. When you ask me, what was it like, cause I could I can go left, I can go right, I can go.
All right, so we're gonna get away from basketball. We're gonna get to your social life off the court, because
Okay.
a lot of people don't understand about basketball players after college. If you play any level of professional basketball, you typically have a shitload of free time.
Yeah, a lot.
Like unless you're playing in one of those programs where they give you like a BS day job to help supplement your
Yeah,
income because
yeah,
the team may not be able to pay you what you need. You have you work out, you practice for a couple of hours, you get some shots up, but you have like a complete 5-hour workday.
Yeah, at best. Yeah,
Right. And that's a busy day. And depending on the league, you may only play once a week or twice a week.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you have ample free time to do whatever you want to do and still be still work on your game in a responsible way. So when you're off the court, after the 5 hours of basketball work, what was that life like, especially on the weekends?
Man, it was cool. That's why I'm as cultured as I am now. Like, so I would different countries was different,
Mm-hmm.
but more importantly, as an American, they was real receptive of wanting to see us and meet us and invite us into their home. The ladies loved us. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing like being an American black man in a foreign country.
Nothing
And
like it.
and you have to put the emphasis on American because there are men with melanin in their skin
Mm-hmm.
who are in these countries. You can find a Kenyan in any country in the world.
Yeah.
But it's different when you are an American black man.
Your bravado is different.
Yeah.
Period.
You got it's different energy that they feel off you, and you can be a normal man like me and feel like a rapper or a hooper. Because
Yeah.
I was telling Dean because he getting ready to go to Dubai,
Ooh,
and I was like, bro, Dubai is different.
it is.
He was like, what you mean? I'm like, Dubai is different. You can do what you want to do as long as your mouthpiece right. Like they gonna do the work for you.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to live life, man. Get to sow your royal oaks, man. I this is why I train so hard. I hope they all can go over there and get to see, experience what life has to offer. For real. For real, man. Like it's different. But you're right, man. Your bravado is different. You get over there because you do see, like, you see Africans, and the Africans, they try to dress like us. But it's different. And as soon as you walk up in the right spots, they're receptive. So I had a lot of downtime.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched a lot of movies. I read a lot of audiobooks, and I met a lot of females. It was as simple as that. It was 3 things I'm pretty good at.
So you played in a few different countries. What was your favorite country and why?
Italy, hands down. Italy was my favorite because of the historical background and the passion at which they brought to the gym when we played. Like we had some supporting fans, man. They would be chanting, and the food. Oh my god! Like the the food was amazing, and we lived right off the beach. Like Ravenna was right off the beach,
Mm-hmm.
so they gave me a car. I had my own spot, so I could drive to the beach. I would just go out there and chill. Anything I needed to take my mind away from being away from my family was good. Anything I needed, I met a couple beautiful shorties that held me down. Like I got some friends who are like brothers to this day that I met out there. Like I went skydiving out there. I went and saw Venice. Like I lived it up in Italy. Like it was.
You just talking about Italian food in Italy. I had some great Italian food earlier this week, but obviously I got it from a nice Italian restaurant
Mhm.
here in America. But nonetheless, it's in America.
Yeah,
But just
bruh. They would wake up their grandmothers. They call them nonna. They
mhm.
would wake up and get to roll and get to in the kitchen rolling up the dough for the noodles. Like it's fresh. Like they're making it thin, stick it stuffing it with cheese. They call it cappelletti. Like they made their own wine. Like it's different.
So the stuff I see on Goodfellas and when they cooking the sauce, that's really how they giving it up out there.
That's how they giving it up. That's exactly how they giving it up, man. Man, you go to bruh, if you ever go to Italy, go to Ravenna. I will tell my people you on your way. That's why I rock with them. Like that's how they rock it. I'll say big baby coming through, and they will talk sports with you till the day the cows come home.
I'm writing that down. Ravenna, Italy.
Yeah.
So you finally got to a point where your career as a player ended.
Hmm.
Did you walk out on your own terms, or did basketball tell you it was time to pivot?
That's a very good question. So what happened was I was in Saudi Arabia making a good, nice little you did.
Oh, yeah, it's a good check over there.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't like it one bit. This was before they opened it up where women could drive. You couldn't go to places to meet women. And I'm a ladies' man, you know what I'm saying? I like the females, you know what I'm saying? Uh
Yeah, you
and
had to go cross that bridge to Bahrain to meet women.
yeah, and I couldn't even get over there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I was hurting, bro. Hurting. So I'm away from my family. The
Mm-hmm.
organization was terrible. You know what I'm saying? And I remember they paid me in cash. They stacked it on the table. I look at it. I flip through it. I go home. My sister just had her baby. I see the picture and I'm like, damn, I want a family. I want to be with my family. I don't know what I'm gonna do after basketball season. You know what I'm saying? I'm having like I've always been able to, as a basketball player, you do get. I wouldn't say I was ever really injured other than when I broke my hand in Finland.
Mm-hmm.
But hamstrings and back, I'm like, what am I going to do 5 years from now? What am I going to do 10 years from now? Like, I need something like this. Isn't I'm not going to be able to make the NBA to be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like that's out of the question. So I got to do something different. So that's when I was like, you know what? So I came back home, and because I played in Saudi Arabia, it was difficult because they don't really respect the Middle Eastern League like that. The European leagues don't. So I
Mm-hmm.
went back to Finland, but my heart wasn't in it. And then that's when I was like, when I retired, my agent didn't want me to retire. He said I should come back. And I was just like, nah, man, I'm running from what I need to start off anyway. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do something that's gonna change the landscape of my life. And so to answer your question, like I left on my own terms. And I just was like, then I went to a Woodland game and it was a cemetery in there. I was just like, yo, they was getting smacked. And I was like, they need some help. And then I was just like, yeah, I'm not going back over there.
Man, it's interesting that you say that for so many reasons. Because for one, I would hate for you to be in Saudi, and with the way that it was back then, that's an awful life to live. And then you talk about the because I got one of my friends. This one of the reasons he decided to not play because with the way that COVID is and stuff now, they were like, you can go to the facility, team events, back to your spot. That's it. If you're spotted out, there goes fines. And guess what? If you are a black man in Europe playing basketball, you stick out. So
You're gonna get caught. Period.
exactly. Um, quick question about the agent thing because the agent world is a dirty world at times. It's tricky, and I learned that it's best to have an overseas based agent if you're going to be playing internationally because typically the American agents have to go through another agent, so your money's
Hmm.
touched in many different hands. Is that a lesson that you learned while you were over there, and did you make that adjustment?
Yeah, my agent was from Finland, so I was already cool. I didn't have to,
Okay.
but I learned. But he put me on game, and you 100% correct. 100%.
All right. So you talk about the end of your basketball career ended. You're trying to figure out some different things to do, and I know this was before your career was over when you and your family started the Fit for Life thing around Cartersville.
Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah,
talk about that a little bit.
yeah. So I always been wanting to be an entrepreneur, and I wanted to be in business, and I didn't know anything about business. You know, um, but growing up, one of my biggest motivations was I wanted to do something for my city. Like I wanted, like I just always been like that. Like I wanted to be able to do something for my city. Like that's just what I wanted to do. So I invested my money into Fit for Life and was like, the business structure was some ass, but I was like, I wanted to do something where got a facility, paid for it, and I'm like, yo, I want people to come and work out and get better and get fit for life. That's what I wanted. It wasn't as successful when I wasn't there. That's one thing I didn't know. I didn't understand the value at which I brought. I didn't know what my value was into the market.
Well, you know, if you had VJ training people. let me tell you about that. I go over there to the facility one day to work out, and I am in some of the best shape of my life. And VJ like, come on, Lee, come out here and work out with me. I'm like, all right, V, I'm gonna come work out with you. And he puts me through a workout, and I'm like, you gonna work out with me, right? All before I get there, yeah, Lee, you know I got you. We're gonna get here and get it together. I show up about 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning. Like, what we got today, V? Man, you know, I got done working out before you got here, but here's what I got for you. Man, when I tell you that workout kicked my ass, and when I tell you I was in some of the best shape of my life, some of the best military training that you could go through, I'm days out of it.
Dang.
6 weeks of it. And tip-top shape. And I'm like, I know you ain't do this shit. Ain't no way in hell you did this shit.
No, he didn't. You know he didn't. That's crazy.
But I will say, I think you were a little bit before your time in the location that you were in, because fitness was not a thing in the South, especially the rural South. And that type of functional fitness that was not, we're going to go to the gym and we're going to go to goals and throw around as much weight as we can. But actually, I won't call it CrossFit-y, but it was, you know, more functional fitness stuff. A lot of stuff that you could actually do at home didn't require a lot of equipment and stuff like that. I think it's a little bit before your time. And I am willing to imagine that it helped set you up for buckets or bench.
It did. It really did, man. I pretty much went to business school through that process. I also learned how to deal with, you know, one of my mentors had told me, you know, business would be easy if it wasn't for people. You know what I'm saying? So I had to learn how to communicate with people. And that was one of the things that I lacked, you know, playing overseas. Like, you miss out. People think that life is a two-edged sword. Like, it's like a seesaw. You might prosper in this area, but you become weak in this area. And one of the weak areas that I had is I didn't know how to communicate with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know how to read people's temperament. I didn't know how to have discernment. I didn't know how to be vulnerable. I didn't know any of that. So I didn't know about customer service. These are the things that you need when you're in business. And so when I started the Fit for Life, I was able to learn those things. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to build relationships. And so when Buckets of Bench, you know, started off, I knew what I needed to do for it to be successful. And I knew I had to be patient. I was able to put together a plan. I was able, you know what I'm saying? And I was able to implement it. And that's what you're starting to see today.
Okay. So we talked a little bit before about training and stuff, because, you know, it's something that's becoming very widespread.
Mm-hmm.
And a question I have is the importance of blending training and playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can really develop your individual skills and even some of your team skills in the training environment, but you don't know what you can do until you do it against somebody, and you do it against somebody multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with playing. You can get out and run and hoop all day long and be good and be good-ish, because you're learning things. You're still learning as you're playing, but you're never really going to develop your skills if you don't train. A story I heard about the difference between Kevin Durant and Michael Beasley was KD, when he was younger, he would be at the gym getting up shots, training, where Michael Beasley was just out there hooping. And if you know anything about the two of them, or anything, if you know anything about Michael Beasley, you know he is as naturally talented as anybody who's ever touched the basketball.
Yeah.
Like if Beasley want to give you 30 and 15, he will.
Legend tells it is that he beat LeBron in one-on-one.
I wouldn't doubt it. And I remember reading an article about him a while back where KD said, I mean, this was like within the last 5 to 7 years, he was like, Beasley just didn't get his chance to have a team. And if you call enough plays for Michael Beasley, he would get you the right numbers. And I was listening to someone else talk about NBA players. The 15th man on the bench, if you give him 20 shots, he's going to score 20 points. It's just that is that winning basketball? I don't know. But back to the question, talk about the importance of blending training and actually getting out there and hooping.
One thing I'm going to say about what you just said is money plays before the talent any day of the week in the NBA. The one with
like the 5 stars play before the 1 stars, and if you're a top 5 player in 8th grade, that's going to carry you through high school, through college, and it may get you drafted at the back end of the lottery, even if you don't deserve it.
Absolutely. So to answer your question, there's one thing that training and playing, you got to have both. One thing that training doesn't do, unless I have a strategy with our training. I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
But instincts, cones, you're not going to get instincts. So as an offensive player, you need instincts. Your natural instincts. You could train and develop your ability to pull these skills out instinctively, but there's not one game that you play that's going to be similar to the next. So there's a fine line between.
Can't hear you right now.
Let me see.
Okay, yeah, you back.
All right. So there's a fine line between when you're training, you're getting the same rep over if you're practicing it the way so you're trying to train muscle memory. When you're playing, you're not getting the same rep over and over and over again. So you're not mastering anything. However, you are becoming very instinctive. The only problem is your consistency when you're playing isn't going to be there. So what makes KD great, and I was just telling the kids today, is when he was playing with the Warriors and the Rockets was busting their tail. The reason why they was able to get out of that series is they had the ability to get the ball to the Tarantula in a triple threat, and he could square up, and he can get a bucket. And if you didn't send help, it was a bucket. And his ability to do that was because he repped out that movement so much. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. And I'll tell you, I listened to Gilbert Arenas' podcast. If you're somebody who's into learning basketball, one of the best podcasts to listen to, because for one, he was a bucket.
Yeah.
One of the best scorers of my lifetime.
Yeah, no
chip. And he has the respect of the players who came before him, the ones who played with him, and those who are playing now. And some of the stuff he talked about, he was watching Kobe train before games. It was like, Kobe worked on double teams in training. And he talked to Devin Booker about that when Devin Booker got mad about the double team
pickup.
And he's like, you're getting double teamed in the game, so why would you not work that through your pickup? Because you're playing pickup in a style that you're never going to play in an NBA game. That's not making you a better player.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I like the fact that you put an emphasis on instinct, because unlike you, I'm not blessed to be able to play high-level pickup basketball when I choose to. I play with whoever I'm around and whoever's there. And, you're playing with grown men from 18 to, let's just say, 35. Talent levels are all over the place. Levels of athleticism are all over the place. You can deal with that. But low IQ and lack of basketball instincts are probably one of the most frustrating things to deal with. I tell you, I'm hooping yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And this guy, he's the tallest guy on the court. He's on my team, and he's posting up. And he's posted, and the guy is on his right shoulder, towards the baseline, right? he has his right hand up, but there's no one in the middle where his left hand is at. So all he has to do is catch, turn around.
Yeah.
Later. I throw it to that spot because I'm like, yeah, bro, I see your hand, but I see the defense.
Yeah.
So I throw it to the open spot. Turnover. He goes, hey, bro, next time throw it to my hand. I was like, yeah, the defender's on that side. You had a layup right here.
Yeah.
I get where you're calling for the ball at. Yeah. And I understand if I made that pass, he catches the pass. Maybe he makes the shot. Maybe he doesn't. But I just gave you a gimme shot right here.
Yeah.
Feel the defense, bro.
Yeah. There's actually a term for that. You're supposed to trust the pass. The big man's supposed to catch it in motion and finish it. He's supposed to trust the passer. You see, that's very frustrating. This is why I don't play basketball that much anymore, man. I can't do it.
I can understand that, and you're not the only person who's played basketball at an extremely high level who told me, like, I just can't do it. Like, it's once you've played at a certain level, you can only play with people at that level, especially if you're going to go in there and actually sweat. Now, if you want to go to the gym and just chuck up threes all day, yeah, but
there's this part of your brain that you go to when I play that I can't not get. Like, even when we was having the conversation earlier and I was talking about the competition and like it's like, what is it, kind of like PTSD? It's like, you know, when something triggers something in their brain, they just freak out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how it is for basketball for me. And I can't even separate the two. I just can't. I don't even know how to do it. It's like somebody put me in a lab and just tweak my molecules in here.
And that's why it took you as far as it did, because once you got on the court, it mattered to you.
Yeah.
So a quick question to go back. We're gonna get back to buckets or bench, right? We're definitely gonna talk about that. But going back to something we talked about earlier, and I asked what it was like being a great player at Woodland, and let's get 15 years away from you graduating from high school, right? And you hear people talk about their favorite players from the area, the local legends, and I look at the stuff and I see it, and I see that two people who had the best careers, minus Eddie Lee Wilkins, you and Adrian, are often left off these people's lists.
Man, but you know why? You want to know why?
Tell me why.
Because people don't. You're not a fan favorite when you bust too many people's ass, and I'm telling you, people don't like it. They don't like it. They don't like it. How many people like Kobe when he was really, really busting everybody's ass?
Just the people who was on that level.
That's it.
The ones who could give it back to him.
That's it. That's it.
Or the smart role player that knows his place and understands the business behind it. It's like, hey, look, I'm this guy. That's Kobe. I'm not him. I'm not gonna be him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna salute him and be the general. Right. Yeah.
And I don't know how you were as a person, but like, I know Adrian ain't nice, and I'm not gonna speak for him too much because whatever. But he a lot of times he's like, bro, fuck these niggas. Like, I'm better than all y'all. Like, I was busting y'all ass when y'all was grown men as a kid, and then sophomore year I'm 20 and 10, and y'all give Donald Rucker Player of the Year. And then I leave, and y'all want to say, oh, well, he ain't really Bartow County, but they want to claim Ashton.
Yeah, and I've trained and played with Adrian, so I got nothing but love and mad respect, bro. I agree. When I know there was so many times I would come down to the bottom gym, and I wasn't trying to be nobody's friend. I didn't think anybody was good, so I was definitely talking cash money. This is why I don't have that many of the best relationships with people when it comes to basketball. I just don't. Like, and that was the ego that you needed to push yourself. Like, you can't go into any type of environment feeling like you're inferior. Like, you got to feel like you're the top dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
You talking to a trash talker right now, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I'm 29. I play in men's leagues, whether it's basketball, flag football, and once the game starts, I'm talking.
Talking.
And people are like, "Hey, man, it's just Tuesday. Can you calm down?" No,
No.
I can't.
Can't.
I can't. It's not personal. Once the game is over, I'm gonna dap you
Wrap
up.
you up.
All
Yeah.
love. We can go grab a beer after. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When
Yeah.
I'm playing against you, I don't like you,
I
and it's
don't.
fuck you, bro.
Yeah. Period. But and only the trash talkers understand that. Like people who don't talk don't understand that. Like literally, when we was at Illinois State, we would be about to fight all practice, but after that, we was good. After we left the locker room, after we left the court, bro, it was everything was everything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And that's the fun thing about finding the non-trash talker who wants to talk trash with you, right? Because you get in his head and he
quick.
thinks it's personal and
Yeah,
he's ready to fight you, and you're like, I'm not mad right now.
I'm
And
not.
and if your teammates don't know you the right way, they're like, hey bro, calm down. I'm like, bro, I'm calm. I'm
Yeah,
super calm. What's making me mad is you
you
telling me to
telling
calm
me be calm
down
down. Yeah,
because you're messing up my mojo. You're messing up what makes me work.
yeah,
Because I'm gonna talk that shit.
got
Funny
you.
story. I'm 20. I'm 19. I think I'm 19. Came back home one weekend. Cass is playing Woodland. I think Cass is playing Woodland. I'm sitting on the floor at Woodland, vodka in my water bottle like we used to do it as young bucks.
Yeah,
Turned up. I'm talking cash money shit on the floor. Just cash money shit. And one of the players from Woodland ends up chunking up a shot from like almost half court with like 7 seconds left because I'm on that floor talking that shit in his ear.
dang, in his
And,
head.
and he lost it. But it went back to some stuff that happened back when I was in high school where I said some stuff to him, and it's never personal until it's personal. But I'm not forgetting no beef.
Yeah,
And
pretty.
I called him out of his name, and he told his mama what I said to him, and I didn't like that. Leave your mama out of this. She didn't know what was said. I was like, come on, man. Like, I don't really feel that way about you as a person, man.
Yeah,
I'm hyper competitive, and like,
yeah,
and I'll tell you what I found is if I care, I'll tap into that. But I can also lollygag and not tap into it. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to do that because you can't talk shit to grown men playing pickup at the park because they got kids and wives, and I'm not going to jail over a pickup game of basketball.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
But let's get back to buckets of bench. Let's get back
Yeah.
to buckets of bench. So
Yeah,
you were talking earlier about the emphasis. A lot of parents want to emphasize winning versus development. Let's talk about that.
yeah, man. Like nobody's gonna remember. All right, so this is one thing that happens, right? So kids sometimes peak before other kids. This is just nature. You read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, they even talk about the disparity between age groups by just months and how it would benefit a kid if there was born if they was closer to the cutoff date. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
at that 9 to like 12 year old range, right? So kids are playing at different teams and they're winning these championships. And they're so and going back to what we talked about training and playing, they're playing, but they're not getting better skillfully. So with basketball being a very high skill level and very complex, you start drinking the Kool-Aid when you start winning these championships, right? And it's not like you're really playing against the talent. They have, it's a money racket. First of all, travel ball is a money racket. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? So they're having tournaments all over. You could find a tournament every weekend. So you could play anywhere just so you can win. You can post it on Facebook and you can say, I'm so proud of so and so for winning this championship. And then now, everybody has an ego, whether you're male or female, and it grows. And then now a year or two prior comes before the fall, your kid isn't where they need to be. And so these trophies, if you was to ask me, don't mean anything. They don't mean the medal that they write it on. Like it ain't worth any of that. So um and I'm not saying that they shouldn't play. Like by all means play because it's fun, but don't put too much into it that you're not putting together a plan. If basketball's something that you want to do, you should have a plan on where you're going, right? So every kid that comes to buckets or bench, I literally sit down and I'm going a little bit further than what I would do typically. But we put together a plan is basically what I'm saying. Like
Okay, so you sit down with the parents and y'all develop a long-term plan and that's how you build the training around that and stuff like that. And I think that's super important because you can go train all day and develop this and that, but like what's the end goal, right?
Yeah.
If your end goal is, hey, I want to be a good varsity high school player, but I have no desire to play at the next level, no matter how good I am, you owe it to a kid who wants to use basketball to pay for college. You owe that kid a better training regimen because this can be the difference in this person working 40 hours a week at McDonald's or this person leaving the state to go to school and possibly leaving the country and changing their entire life.
Absolutely. And this is what the parents got to understand. There's so much I could talk about this all day long, right? And you're 100% right. There's a level that gets you to that point where your training can make a shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a level where there's a little bit more attention to detail. If you study Kobe, a great book to check out is by Tim Grover called Relentless. Man, I
got that book and I've been bullshitting with it.
Bruh, that book.
And I've been bullshitting.
Bruh, oh my God, bruh. It's the best book. One of the best top
We'll
books.
talk about your book list on another day because you've referenced so many different books in this hour. And for one, what it tells me is that you read. And I think, and that's, people don't read.
They don't.
And I'm not saying you have to read books. I'm not saying you just need to consume information.
Yeah.
Like valuable information that will challenge your views and make you a smarter, more intelligent person because you'd be shocked how much what you read in a book will help you out in life, even if it's just trying to relate to somebody. Yep. And like you talked about outliers, right? And I can tell you my favorite Gladwell book is Blink because I like that whole you kind of you either got it or you don't. Like you shit seems more difficult than what it is, but you know, like I tell girls this all the time. You know, in the first 30 seconds of talking to me, how this night's gonna end.
And yeah, period.
Now it might not end that way tonight, but if you want to go that next level, I probably don't even have to say a word to you.
You don't need to.
You figured that out from when you saw me, the way I walked in, the way I carry myself. I know that.
Yeah.
So I may not know what you're thinking, but I know that you know.
Yeah.
So instead of wasting my time, let me know what you know. So then we can either get there or I can go elsewhere because look, man, I ain't leave the house to go home alone.
Yeah, didn't.
So, but how is it without getting without going too much in detail, because you obviously have to maintain positive relationship with parents. How is it dealing with parents and communicating what you are evaluating with your more trained eye, your more seasoned eye, versus what they want and what they think their child is?
It's not that difficult actually, because I don't work with everybody.
Okay.
I don't work. I vet out everything. I don't have time. I don't waste my time with people who feel like they know. This is why I didn't go into high school coaching. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
there's a merit that the fact that I went and played under a whole bunch of systems, experienced a whole lot of basketball, dealt with a whole lot of coaches, owners. I seen the business. I've been through the business. I played in these games. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watched all of this film. If you was to tally up all of that, if you don't respect that, I understand my value. I don't need to work with somebody who's gonna not listen. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I'm not saying obey. I'm just saying listen. Like, listen to understand. Because I'm going to listen. I don't know everything. And I gotta have a relationship with the parent because you know your child better than anybody. And the ones that come to me, and this is what Tim Grover says in the book, and this is what I started seeing with myself. I'm not the first person people come to. I'm the last person. They come to me when nothing else is working, and then now they're humble, which is what I prefer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I prefer you come to me and be like, look, I done took my kid as far as I can go. They don't even listen to me anymore. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I'll be your extension to speak to your kid. I'll be your connector. You know what I'm saying? I don't tell the kid anything that I'm not going to tell the parent. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so now we're building a relationship because if this is how it is, as a basketball player, you're a business. Like, KD is a business. LeBron is a business. Like, you got certain people that do certain things in your life so you could be productive. And if, like, even for me as a trainer, I don't want to be the only trainer that's in the kid's life. Like, I want you to have specialists. Like, maybe you have a shooting specialist. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm good at and what I bring to the table. And if we all work together, we bring the best out of it. So when a parent comes to me, I vet them out and I want to see how it's because I don't want to. I'm not transactional. I don't want to just do it one time or two times because then there's so much going on. There's so many things that could derail a kid from making it to their goal. And I don't want to put them in a position worse off than when I met them. So if the parent is not going to be able to listen and we can't have communication, then it's not even worth a damn for me. I don't want to do it. I love doing this. Like, nothing makes me happier than me be able to do what I'm doing right now in my life. Like, so I don't want to mess it up by a parent or anybody else who we can't have a healthy relationship. Just don't.
All right. So to close it out, you talked about how you didn't want to be a high school coach because there's a lot of extra BS that you have to deal with. And as a trainer, have you started developing relationships with some of the local coaches
Oh,
uh, to help help enhance what they're doing in the time that they can't do it?
absolutely. You know why? Because the process is proven now. I got kids right now that are playing for the Atlanta Celtics coming
Okay.
up. You know what I'm saying? I got the best. I train the best. And there's no question, the best eighth graders in the area. And I've trained the best players that are in the high school. I don't promote I don't promote the basketball training that much. And this is why. Because I don't want hype. I don't want players coming to me because of the hype. No. I want players who want to get their hands dirty. I don't want people that's coming in. I've seen that, and those aren't the ones who want to get better. Those aren't the ones that make it far. So I've built relationship with coaches because now they're starting to see. And I have real relationship with the parents. Like, we have real friendships with the parents, and the coaches see that. You know what I'm saying? There's value there. Now, what happens after that, only God knows. You know what I'm saying? I just want everybody to win, and if they do right, they do right.
And man, and it's so dope because relationships make the world go around. I don't remember who I was telling this, but the other day, when I was talking about the way I try to engage with my podcast audience is I want you to fall in love with what Big Baby the Goat is. I want you to respect what it is that I say because sometimes I'm gonna have a show that you're not gonna like.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm gonna talk about some stuff you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
But what I want to do is I want to ensure that you trust me And so that when certain things happen, you want to hear what I have to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people all the time, like, you can disagree, and the inbox is wide open, the comment section is wide open. Now, I'm not going to entertain comments during a live show because that's no.
Yeah.
But you and I can have a conversation later on about it, and I can tell you where my thoughts came from. I can tell you what's entertainment, what's real thoughts, and like the all the gray area in between. So I really like your approach, man. I love what you're doing. It's beautiful to see. And as somebody who really cares about that community and is a sports nerd, but was not good enough to go nowhere with it. And if I was good enough, I wasn't going to work hard enough to be where I need to be because
That's real.
I don't like lifting weights. The only reason I lift them now is because I don't want to be big as hell.
Yeah.
But I don't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to see that someone who's done it, who knows, is finally providing that information back, because like you said, you didn't really have a big homie to help lead you. Like, again, I'm not going to speak for Adrian, but one of the best things that happened to him was going to Centennial because he was around other top-end players. He was playing with them, playing against them. He was in that environment, a more basketball-rich environment to help him achieve his goals, because we know in Northwest Georgia, bro, we got Eddie Lee, who's not there anymore. He brought back a lot of information. Don't get me wrong. He brought back a lot, but he's not there. And we got Cookaman. Who else?
Mm-hmm. I got some homies though, man. I got to give a shout out to a few people, man.
Shout out to homies real quick.
For 3, Spencer.
Okay.
Quentin Woods. I like what Chris Hill doing. I give a shout out to Mike in the shooting clinic. I don't want to miss anybody. Yeah, those are the ones in the North Georgia area that are holding it down right now, man. Like,
I'm so happy that's happening because the kids deserve it, and they don't deserve to be held back by the ignorance of the athletic programs that they are forced to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the coaches, the athletic directors, the principals have so much power that they don't realize based on who they hire, who they hire as the AD, what type of program that AD chooses to build, who they hire as the coach, the type of programs that coach wants to build. And you oftentimes see so much talent fall by the wayside because of the untapped potential and lack of direction.
And that's one of my biggest motivations, man. Because you got to understand, and I'm my heart is for the ones who don't have the fathers. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, for the fatherless, ones who look like me. You know what I'm saying? The ones who want to play sports and then they get to a school and then coaches aren't able to relate to them. So now they don't want to play basketball anymore. So, like, that's one of my biggest motivations, man. Like that. Because I rest in peace, Roman. Like, what would have happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, that drives me, man. That's what wakes me up. So I get the fulfillment when I'm able to help, man. So I feel that 100%, man.
All right, I said last question. One more question, because we're running over, but I want to ask you a couple of things offline. Tell me what buckets or bench is. You've kind of explained it throughout the podcast and what it means to you, but what exactly is buckets or bench?
Okay, this the mindset. It's the mindset. A bucket is anything bringing value to your team, your community, your family, your friends. Like, and if you're not getting buckets, you got to go to the bench. Like, period. And it's the mindset of when you go on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Because life is full of ups and downs, and you can get on the bench and you could be like, "Whoa, it's me. I wish I was playing." You could be leaning back in your seat. You could be mad, or you could be locked in trying to focus on, okay, what can I do better to get back out there and get a bucket? And if you have that mindset, when you get back out there, you're going to get right back into the game and get where you need to be. So that's the mindset. So it gets deeper than that. That's why, the mindset of those players, when they step on the basket, that's what makes us different. It's like, we're not just doing training. Like, I want these dudes when these dudes and girls, ladies and girls, when they step on the basketball court, they have a different mindset, man. You'll see them, you'll know.
All right, man. Thanks so much, Cook. Don't hang up yet. Hey, this has been episode 3 of Let's Talk Hoops, man. I had Emmanuel Holloway, aka Cookaman, on. We chopped it up. We talked about basketball. We talked about his life and his career. And what you all may not know is he'll be back soon on Big Baby's podcast. And
For
we're gonna talk
sure.
about Cookaman-E, the rapper.
For sure. For sure.
All right, man. Thanks, Cook.
Yep.